What's up, beautiful people? It's your girl Lenny. Welcome back to my channel. Happy fabulous Wednesday, people. In some parts of the world, Wednesday is known as Hump Day. Yes, and all that means is that you have arrived at the middle of the week. Wednesday is looked at as a little hill or a hump, and you are finally getting over that hump and heading into the weekend, because as you may or may not know, Thursday is known as the unofficial start of the weekend. So, with all that said, folks, happy Hump Day. Now, today we're going to be talking about 5 things that may be wasting your time. 5 things that may be taking up way too much of your time. So, if you're interested about finding out what those 5 things are, stay tuned. So, as we all know by now, time is precious and valuable, right? And if some of us could stop time, rewind it, and relive some of our good memories, some of our good moments, our good events, we would, right? Now, because time is so valuable and so precious, it is extremely important that we make certain that we use it intelligently, discreetly, and wisely. And now we must make certain that we use it this way so that it benefits us as individuals and the people around us. Because, we don't want to be wasting other people's time, right? And now I've heard people say that, they cannot find time for themselves. And when I hear people say that, I think that is such a dangerous thing, or it's a dangerous place to be. Because, it's very important that we as individuals find the time or make the time to treat ourselves, get to know ourselves, and do things for ourselves. I mean, even Jesus found time to be alone and to pray, right? So what could possibly be absorbing so much of your time that you don't have time for your personal things, or that you don't have time to do things for yourself? Now, there are several things that could be doing that, but I'm going to discuss 5 with you today, 5 very common ones. And if you can identify with them, click the like button, right? Let's get into it. Now, to begin, right, let's consider the possibility that you may be spending too much quality time with people who are not deserving of your time. You know what I mean? So you may be giving of your time, your energy, and your natural resources to people who don't like you, don't care for or about you, people who are never there for you, but you are always there for them. So, in other words, it's as if you are investing quality time and receiving no quality interest, or no interest at all for that matter, right? So, have you been doing that? Have you been spending time with people who don't give back the same amount of time or attention to you? Have you been doing that to yourself lately? I'm going to just let you think about that for a while. I'm just going to let that marinate with you, because I think you'll know what to do after you've thought about it for a while, right? Now, the second thing is that you may be participating in activities or events that have absolutely nothing to do with your life mission or your life's purpose. Right? So have you ever taken part in something, and when asked why you took part, you said, I don't know, I was bored, man, or I just did it to pass the time. Have you ever said that? And I'm not talking about participating in something to pass the time when you are waiting on something or waiting on something to happen. Like, let's say, for example, you're at the airport and your flight got delayed, and now you have 9 extra hours to play with, and so you decide to pass the time by walking around and visiting stores or heading outside of the airport to see the city that you're in. I'm not talking about that sort of pass the time. I'm talking about consciously participating in something that you are not interested in. Consciously participating in something that you know you will never be interested in. You're only doing it because you want to look good for some people, right? You want to impress some people, so you decide to do it. Or you're doing it because a friend is doing it. So the friend has a reason why he or she might be doing it, but you have no reason at all. You're just on that train because you don't know what to do with yourself. Or you may be doing it because you're competing with somebody. You're a little bit jealous of somebody and you want to do that thing because they're doing it to show them up or to show that you could be better at it. Have you ever done that? Now, if you're doing that, you're wasting a lot of your time, because the time that you've spent doing that could have been spent doing something that you're interested in, something that could have contributed to your self-development, your self-worth, something that could have been done to put you on another level. So once again, you're wasting time. Now, the third thing that's taking up way too much of your time is attending pointless meetings. Now, I've been guilty of that one in the past, so I'm just going to testify on it, right? I used to be a part of an organization a few years ago, and this particular organization held so many meetings, and they held these meetings frequently. Now, these type of meetings that this organization held were not 2-hour meetings or 3-hour meetings. They were actually meetings that lasted 4 and 5 hours. So they would call a meeting that began at 1 o'clock and we'd be there at 6 and 7 in the night, right? So the thing about these meetings is that there would always be an agenda, but somehow the agenda never got finished. So we would have, let's say, 10 items on the agenda. We would get to around item number 2, and then the conversation would just stop right there, and the talk would just be on item number 2, and then going back to item number 1, and then sometimes the talk would get off of the agenda totally, and then everything would just be going around in circles, right? And then the chairperson would have the audacity to come back and say at 7 o'clock, right? Okay, so we're gonna have to continue this meeting at another time or on another date. And I'm like, oh, hell to the absolute no. You just took 5 to 6 hours of my life doing absolutely nothing. There is no way in hell I'm coming back to hear you speak about nothing again, right? A total waste of time. Now, I don't have a problem with meetings, but I tend to think that a meeting can be finished within an hour if you know what you're about. A meeting should not be extremely lengthy unless there are pertinent things to discuss and things to be decided upon. And the fact that people are actually working and doing the things that's on the agenda is very important in a meeting, because here you have people's time at your disposal. And time is so valuable, like I said before, and so precious. So to take up all that time from somebody, it's like a highway robbery. Now, not only did this particular organization hold lengthy meetings, but they also held lengthy workshops. And the workshops were boring, uncreative, and extremely time-consuming. And to make matters worse, these workshops were sometimes held on Saturdays. So you know how Saturdays is, part of the weekends and you have a lot of things to do, or sometimes all you want to do is just kick back and relax on your weekends, right? So imagine you leaving your house at 9 a.m. on Saturday and coming back home at about 3 or 5 o'clock in the evening, after you would have spent time at a workshop that did absolutely nothing to uplift you as a person, did absolutely nothing to contribute anything to your skill set, right? A total waste of time, right? So all this to say, stop attending pointless meetings. If you are in a meeting and you look around and you can see the people falling asleep and snoring hard, let me tell you, you always find that one person who is sitting in the middle of the room or at the back, dead asleep. And I mean, like, right? So stop attending pointless meetings. If the meeting is not making any sense at all, raise your hand and say, may I be excused, or just don't attend at all. Time is too precious to be wasting on things like that when you could be doing something much more important, much more valuable, right? Now, the fourth way that you are wasting your time is by spending too much time doing absolutely nothing at all. You know what I'm talking about. Spending ample amounts of time just lazing. Now, this includes several hours of TV, several hours of being on your phone, several hours of social media, and you know how when you get on that social media, you get hooked, right? Now, instead of taking all of that time and putting it into nothingness, how about taking that time and using it to do something that will be beneficial to you, something that would improve you as a person? So get your priorities straight and start maximizing your time, your potential, and your productivity. And the fifth and final way that you are wasting your time is by worrying. Yes. Now, I've said this before in one of my videos, and I'm going to say it right here again. Worrying gets you absolutely nowhere. Now, you can check out the video that I said it in. I think it was 3 things that happy people do, and I'm going to leave a link to that right here, so you can check that out. Now, worrying does for you what a rocking chair does for you, minus the relaxation part, right? It just rocks you back and forth and back and forth and back and forth and back and forth, and it keeps doing this over and over and over, but it gets you absolutely nowhere at all. Now, instead of worrying about your situation, how about being proactive about it? How about getting up and doing something about it, right? And if it is that you are in a position where you feel like you've done everything and nothing is working, or that there is nothing else for you to do, or that there is nothing that you can do about it, then just accept the situation as it is and let it be. Just sit back and let it be. Now, my husband and I were looking at a program the other day with a woman who lived to be 110 years old. And when they interviewed her, she stated that one of the reasons why she lived that long is because she refused to be worried or bothered about life's issues. She said that things would happen to her and she would just be like, well, c'est la vie. Such is life. I mean, that's just what it is. What can I do about it, right? So imagine if we adopted an attitude like that, where we chose not to be worried or unbothered about things that should naturally perhaps stress us out. What if we adopted that attitude of, well, that's just the way it is. I'm not going to worry about that, right? I mean, even the Bible said, be anxious about nothing, but in everything, through prayer and supplication, make your requests known unto God. Even God is telling us don't worry about a thing. So don't worry about it, whatever it is. Worrying is taking up way too much of your time, right? So think back about all those times that you worried about things and your worrying actually got you nowhere. So I think that this is where I'm going to end my video for today. I'm going to place a poll right about here, and this poll is going to ask you to state which one of the points that I spoke about today that you can relate to. Which one of these points are wasting your time? So click that poll right here and let me know which one of the factors that I spoke about relates to you. Now, before we close off, I have to give a birthday shout out to two very special people. And as you know, I said that I would not be doing any more birthday shout outs after my huge March birthday celebration unless it was a close friend or a relative. And so these two people that I'm going to give a birthday shout out fall so beautifully into this category. So I just want to say epic birthday shout out to my sister Abby, who celebrated her birthday last Thursday, April 7th, and my friend Chanel's daughter Serena, who celebrated her birthday on Wednesday, April 6th, which is also last week. So we have birthday celebrations for the 6th and the 7th. Now, I wish you both a year of love, a year of favor, a year of joy, a year of peace, a year of everything that your heart desires. And I pray that God gives you longevity and happiness and showers you with His blessings. So happy birthday to you, Abby, and to you, Serena. And God bless you both. Love you both. And I also want to give a shout out to my friend Chanel. I know you are always tuned in, so keep it locked, girl. Yeah. Now, I'm going to end off my video finally. Did you check out last week's video? If you didn't, I'm going to post a link for you right here. So be sure to check that out. And I'm going to definitely see you in my next video. But until then, let's say what we say together. Be you, stay true, and let your authentic self shine. Bye. So, if someone asks you, who are you? What's the first thing that you would say? Most of you would go ahead and respond with your name, right? And if a person persists with the same question, you may then respond with your name and your address. So you might say, I'm Jane from East 42nd Street, or I'm Shayna from Guelph, right?